All right, Shalom. It's a brother Kushab coming back at you another quick lesson. Now, before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me his truth and rule well in peace. Blessings and salutations be to the hopefully elect, as well as those that believe in the gospel, and may you endure it to the end, Lord willing. All right, and I just want to get into a quick lesson today. There's something that was kind of might come back with a part two. It's kind of two different topics, and I was trying to kind of basically collaborate them, right? But I'm gonna just have to kind of separate it, just going into basically, all right, the book of remembrance, all right, and how basically, the ones that remembers the Lord will remember those, all right, which are the true underdogs, But I'm gonna start off with the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 16. All right. Now it says, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord Yahweh hearkened and heard it. You see? And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh and that thought upon his name. All right. So that book of remembrance, all right, is the Bible. It's the scriptures, man. All right. Because this is where our history lies. All right. This is how, we understand who we truly are. All right. Now, the Lord has woken us up out of being in this, this comatose, this dead state. All right. And then he's brought us into what? This marvelous light. I have to get that real quick. The thing is always spelled different. All right, this 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, it says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation, a peculiar people. All right, which that word peculiar goes into being special. All right, it says that ye should shoot forth the praise of him who had called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in past were not a people, but now are the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. All right. And that's what, all right, remembering the Lord, right? When you go back to the Malachi 3, all right, that's what remembering the Lord does. All right. It brings us back, all right, into our power. Okay. Understanding the law, statutes, commandments, understand the books of the prophets, the books of the law. All right. Understanding the sayings, the parables of Yahweh Shai, understanding his sacrifice. All right. These are the things that we remember. You see, we don't remember, all right, or take part in these, high hell, what I call them, these high hell days, man. All right. What brothers, I forget what the brothers say, because, days like today, which is a so-called Christmas, all these people, out here opening presents, right? Not knowing what they worshiping. All right. And you have people that actually know what they are worshiping and just say, hey, fuck it. All right. But that's what our people do. That's what happens when the Lord hasn't brought you out of the darkness. All right. And called you into the light. You just willingly celebrate into Satanism. All right. And all the other things that come with it, with the whole tree and the balls, the presents, the colors, the day itself, all right, which the word Christ and Mas goes into anointed, all right, which the word Christ goes into anointed, and MAS goes into Mas, all right, which ultimately means debt. They like to say, oh, when you go to a mass, it's a debt sacrifice, but nah, it just means debt, man. All right, so you're telling people happy anointed debt, all right? And people don't understand that they're celebrating, right, the death of Yahweh Shai, all right? And where in the scriptures did it tell us to do that? You see? But we, all right, as I'm going to read it again, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh and that thought upon his name. You see? So when you read in NLT, oh, shit. right? When you read it in NLT, it says, then those who feared the Lord spoke with each other, and the Lord listened to what they said. You see? So like Yahweh Shai said, whether two or three in the midst, you with a brother, all right, a brother or two, Yahweh Shai said he's always in the presence, man. All right. It says, in his presence, a scroll of remembrance was written to record the names of those who feared him and always thought about the honor of his name. You see, and only the elect are going to be the ones that think about the honor of the Lord's name. All right. That not partake in these hedonistic, these pagan sacrifices, right? And you have a lot of, Jake's, family members that say, oh, I know it's pagan, but, this is always what we did. You're right? So it's just, it's just people just don't want to go against the grain. All right. Now, I want to get something in here because it says that you should shoot forth the praises of him who had called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which were in time past were not a people, but now are now the people of the Most High. You see, and not remembering the Lord, not honoring his name, okay? These are all traits, all right, of part of being not at one, all right, with our power, as it says in the book of Judith, when we obeyed the laws, when we obeyed the statutes, commandments, we was at one with our power, and there was nothing that, anybody could do against us, you see? But when we go further away from it, all right, then that makes us what? Not a people, okay? I'm talking to you, you Israelites, man. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, who are the people of the chosen people of the Most High God, Yahweh, all right, and his son, Yahweh Shai, okay? But I'm going to grab this in Baruch, all right, because it was prophecy that we would remember the Lord, all right? It was prophecy that we would remember his name, you see? It's Baruch chapter 2, verse 29. It says, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations where I will scatter them, you see? And that's exactly what has happened unto us as a people, all right? This great multitude has been turned into a small number among the nations, in which, we understand Israel is as the sand of the sea, all right, and that we mixed in with all of these different nations, all right? But the Lord has turned us into what they call us the minority, you see? Verse 30 says, for I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. All right, and that's what we are doing now. All right, remembering our high holy days. All right, which we just come out of the Feast of Dedication, okay, which you also know as Hanukkah. All right, remembering the Passover, remembering the Feast of Tabernacles, right? Remembering Purim, okay? The and I think that's pretty much it. I might be missing one or two, but this is what we were remembering, all right? The ways of our forefathers, all right? As it says to seek out the old paths, man. All right. Seek out the old path. I remember the old paths. Forget what it's at. Yep, this Jeremiah 6:16. It says, thus said the Lord Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. All right, and that's what our mindset of our people. They don't want to walk in the old paths. They don't want to let go the ways of this society. They don't want to let go the ways of darkness, man. All right? But as for what? As Joshua said, as for me and my house, we going to serve the Lord, man. You see? It says, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths. All right? We remembering ourselves is a part of us asking and seeing the old paths, seeing the ways and the things that our forefathers did, seeing the errors, okay? And we're finding a good way, and that's the way we were walking therein, you see? But it was one in Psalms. I'm going to end it off in that one. Let me see if I had anything else left in this Baruch. The book of Baruch, chapter 2. That's a little bit more. Yep, at verse 31 it says, and I shall know that I am the Lord, their power, and I will give them a heart and ears to hear. All right. So as you can see, the correlation with us remembering ourselves, it coincides with us remembering the Lord. All right. And that ultimately comes with healing. All right. The Lord healing our spirits, healing, opening our eyes. All right. Opening up our ears, our perception and our understanding. All right. So that we can know what the truth is and the things that we should be doing. You see, that's the Lord, giving us a heart and ears, man. All right. Anointing us with that eye salve. You see, verse 32, it says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. All right. And that's what happens when you return from the darkness of this world. OK, like the elders say, man, you can't return. All right. Or be a part of something or remember something. Remember. All right. Means to go back. All right. Let me get that word. Thought I had it up. Yep. It says the point, the meaning, to recall to mind, to bring again to the memory. You see, meaning back. All right. Or again. All right. The word member means just to keep or bear. All right. So you re-keeping. All right. Or re-bearing something. All right. That you once forgot. You see. So a part of us remembering Yahweh Bashim Shai, all right, is praising him, thinking upon his name, okay? And ultimately, these are going to be the men, women, and children that's destined for salvation, okay? Salakia. Verse 33, it says, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers. You see, the old paths, man. All right. The paths of Solomon, okay? The paths of the righteous kings, okay? The paths of the prophets, okay? The paths of Yahushua, all right? The apostles, man, the elders. You see, these things that are written in this book of remembrance, this is how it's going to play a vital part, all right, of making it into the kingdom of heaven, all right, to be beamed up and saved from the hand of our enemies, okay? It says, and I'll read it again, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers which sinned before the Lord. You see? But I ain't gonna read the rest. That's pretty, it's pretty plain, but, that's what we're doing now, remembering the ways of our forefathers, man. All right, Noah, Abraham, all right, Isaac, you see, Moses, Joshua, all right? Because the Lord is getting ready to lead us back into the promised land again, you see? But I'm ending it off in the book of Psalms 106, verse 4. Right? It says, remember me, O Yahweh, with the favor that thou bearest unto thy people. O visit me with thy salvation, that I may see the good of thy chosen, that I may rejoice in the gladness of thy nation, and that I may glory with thine inheritance. We have sinned with our fathers, we have committed iniquity, we have done wickedly. Our fathers understood not the wonders in Egypt, they remember not unto the multitude of thy mercies, but provoked him at the sea, even the Red Sea. Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake, that he might make his mighty power to be known. Right, I'm going to jump down a little bit. Was going into, everything that happened in the wilderness. All right, everything that happened with our forefathers and Moses, okay? Salakia. Just bear me 1 second. Yeah, it was a point I wanted to get in here. It's all good. I must have passed it up. It's all good. I'll just read the point in 106 and 4. All right. It says, remember me, O Yahweh, with the favor that thou bearest unto thy people. Visit me with thy salvation. Salakia. that I may see the good of thy chosen, that I may rejoice in the gladness of thy nation, that I may glory with thine inheritance. All right. And that's what we're asking the Lord to do, you know, to remember us. All right. It says, what in wrath, remember mercy, O Yahweh. All right. And so as long as we remembering the Lord, all right, taking heed to the book of remembrance, okay, as long as we're doing these things, we are just hoping and praying, all right, for the mercies of the Lord, that he ultimately remember us, you know. But that's pretty much the point. So, you know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right, straight to the point. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Chakwadash. The bonds once again to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings. Shalom wa barakim, Allah wa charim. Peace and blessings to those who elect. Shalom.